let the guitar scream. We're talking wrestling, living the dream. From Tokyo to London, across the globe, respecting the craft, we're in the know. No gimmicks or fakes, just pure passion and skill. The best talents from every wrestling hill. We dive deep into the stories behind the ring. Respecting the craft, making the fans sing. Respect the craft, making the fans sing. Respect the craft, respect the fight. We bring the best, we can't hide. Respect the craft, making the fans sing. Respect the craft, respect the fight. We bring the best, we can't hide. We dive deep into the stories behind the ring. Respect the craft, making the fans sing. Respect the craft, respect the fight. We bring the best.
And we are live. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of Respect the Craft. This is episode number 287. And unfortunately, I guess all good things must come to an end as we are capping off 3 Legacies week here. But we have saved truly the best for last as we are joined here by All Energy,
Yes.
Breaux Keller. What's going on, man? Good evening.
First of all, we can't just not acknowledge how awesome that intro was.
Thank you.
That song was incredible.
Thank you. I noticed in the little in the waiting room, I'm just noticing you rocking out over there. So thank you.
You can see me? That was amazing. I was having a lot of fun just listening to that. Like,
Oh, thank you so much. Again, shout out to Stefan Cricks, who did the amazing theme here that you guys hear every episode. So shout out to him again, who does the
big shout
awesome work
out.
for Revolver, who also, again, small world in this wrestling world, is Jessica Havoc's brother. So shout out to him, man, who does awesome custom music. So if you guys ever need that, definitely get in contact with him because he does quick turnarounds too. He does a lot of awesome work like that. But we are here to talk about all things Breaux Keller here. But before we get into that, we have a lot to discuss, especially when it comes to tomorrow's huge event. I have to ask you the question I ask everyone that comes on here, and that is, you heard the name of the podcast. It's called Respect the Craft. So for you, when you hear that term, the craft, what does that mean to you?
Ooh, this is a very good question to kick things off with. So, the craft, in my mind, obviously, this is in reference to professional wrestling, but the word on a larger scale, I feel like craft is an art, or it's just something that really anybody dedicates their time and attention and efforts towards. Like, for example, there is the craft of music. People are out there, literally the freaking awesome intro we just listened to. That is somebody's craft. Or, you know, when it comes to an NFL player, some sort of other athletes in other realms. And for wrestling, I think the craft is this beautiful art form that we are creating. It is the stories that we are telling, which you probably hear from every guest, because that is such a recurring theme in professional wrestling is we're telling stories. So I think with that, it comes down to everything involved in professional wrestling, whether that be the promoter, whether that be your opponent, whether that be the fans, the audience, the people that are paying money to come watch us, the podcasters that are having us on as guests. I think everything involved is the craft and making sure that you're being respectful to all aspects. And that just means shaking hands, being polite, being courteous, holding the dang door for somebody, being on time, making sure that you get your audio and video checked out before you hop on. It's every aspect. So a long-winded answer there, but I think there are so many components to it, and respecting the craft falls underneath all of those.
Oh, definitely so. And again, it is all good. Trust me, we've had crazier technical difficulties on here that
I
it
will say, I got on early. I made sure everything before we started was good to go. So
it
we're
worked
all
out.
right.
We're here now. We're here now.
We
It's a
are.
better way to again end Three Legacies week here because it's been an insane week where we had your opponent tomorrow. We had JS Hawthorne here on
Mhm.
the podcast. We had the special guest referee for tomorrow night, Bryce Remsburg, on here. So we definitely need to have you on to get your thoughts and all that. But before we get into that, we also want to get into our lovely chat here. We got Giovanni. We're live, baby. There you go. The champ is
Yeah.
here. There you go. The predictions
Yeah.
are coming in. Every episode we've done so far, they're pulling for you, man. The Three Legacies
Yeah.
people are looking to see you win the gold back tomorrow night. So, and there we go. We got Tammy saying, "Bro is the nicest person ever you want to meet." So there you go. There you go. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. But
I
before we get
appreciate
into
that.
that, we get into the Breaux Keller we know now. I want to get into what was it that made you decide to step into this craft? What was it for you
Mhm.
that it's like, you know what? This isn't just the thing I enjoy to watch. This isn't just a little hobby thing. This is now I need to step through those ropes.
Yeah, it started obviously, I think, with most wrestlers. Being a kid, growing up, we're watching it, and for me, my generation, I was right in the thick of the Monday Night War. And so I'm watching Nitro, I'm watching Raw, and I had an older brother who actually, because of him, we were flipping back and forth. And he was all about pro wrestling, so he got me into it. And then, growing up, I'll be honest, I kind of faded out of it a little bit, but then going back into college, I got sucked right back in. And kind of a bittersweet end to my collegiate career. For those that don't know, I actually played football, I ran track through college, and I went to nationals my senior, well, a couple years, but my senior year, and crossed the finish line. I was the national runner up. And as soon as I did, I had somebody come over to me. They're like, you, boom, they announced my school, my bib number, and they sent me over to the podium. Get to the podium. There's another official who says, you, son, are disqualified. And he dropped that bomb on me. And I was standing there, like in this moment of confusion. It was all a whirlwind. And there's a rule. They said I did something. They said I was hooking my leg around the hurdle because I was a hurdler. We had video footage that showed otherwise. They would not accept the footage because it was our own. So I was like, we're not making edits and altering the footage within like a matter of 8 minutes, you
Yeah.
know?
It's like,
Um, so all that to say, after college, I kind of was in this like playing flag football, playing softball, doing basketball, and it just wasn't really fulfilling. And I was trying to really hone in on the craft, if you
yeah.
will, and figure out, all right, what is next? And Jamie Senegal is a name you might be familiar with on the independent scene. Was dating my brother at the time, and there was a night we were having a campfire, and I was talking to my brother. I was like, dude, if I don't do this, I might regret it, and I don't know if I will ever get another opportunity to do it. And sure enough, message Jamie. Probably like 90 seconds later, my phone buzzes. Tomorrow night, 5 p.m., you're coming to training with me. And at that point, I was just like, oh, shoot. Okay, I guess we're doing this. So, a lot of thanks to my brother, but then a lot of thanks also to Jamie for really, to a degree, making the decision for me because I was
Yeah.
kind of in, kind of out. I mean, you look at wrestling, especially my generation growing up, where it's like all these mountain men, they're 6'5", 6'6", 280 pounds. And I was like, that's not me. Like, I can't do this. Like, there's no way. But it's evolved so much since then. And the opportunity actually did exist for me. So I'm glad I did it. I'm glad Jamie kind of pulled me in. I went to training literally that next night. And since then, I just hit the ground running.
There you go. I know, and I feel like that's one of those things where it's almost you can't think about it. You just have to see what happens. It's one of those where
Yes.
you just have to make that leap. And Jamie luckily made the leap for you. It was just, nope, you're coming. We'll see what happens from there. Because
For
that is
sure.
the thing too. It's like it's getting you there. Now
Mhm.
that perfectly leads to my next question. But before we get to that, I do want to acknowledge Three Legacies is in the chat right now.
Oh,
So
here
there we
we
go.
go.
We got Three Legacies Wrestling saying let's go. I want to say it's the boss man, but I'm not gonna say anything just in case.
Maybe.
He was
Maybe.
a busy guy right now. Again, it's been setting up for this grand event tomorrow. Unfortunately, the rain was trying to make its own run in today. So
No,
hopefully again
no,
it
no, no.
passes through so it can be a nice, enjoyable day tomorrow for that Red Rose Rumble. And Brittany saying, I love you, bro. Number one Breaux Keller fan for life. There you go. Much love there.
Love
Shout
you.
out,
Thank
shout out
you.
to Danny here. Thank you so much for the love as well and the support here. But now we bring into this. We bring into you get that. You get Jamie bringing you in. But
Hmm.
now for you though, you start training, you get into it. When was it that it clicked? You know what? We're gonna keep going now. This is the right call. Let's go full throttle in this.
I don't think, and this might sound like a corny answer, but I don't think there was a moment where that wasn't the case.
Okay.
As soon as I got into the ring, that was the moment of like, okay, if we're doing this, we're doing it.
Okay.
And quite literally from that first moment, it was like, okay, I learned in that very first night how to set up a ring. I had to quite literally put the frame up, the boards down, the padding, the ropes, you name it. Nothing was set up. It was quite an interesting evening because when I was going through that, and I'll be honest, there were moments where I was like, I don't know about this, but I couldn't quit on it. And again, I don't want to sound corny or cheesy, but it just was something where I knew, okay, if I'm going to actually commit the time to this, and I'm going to put in a night, a week, a month, and I think with anything that people do, it's like once you get going, you get your foot in the door, things just start compounding.
Yeah.
And like if I were just to have quit after the first month, it's like, okay, that was just the biggest waste of time. And don't get me wrong, I understand not everything is for everyone, and there are reasons for people not to continue. But when I had that first night, it was just like, I'm not going to stop. And at that point, it was just, who can I ride with? What shows can I go to? Even if I'm not booked, let me just watch. Let me shake hands. Let me meet promoters. Let me meet wrestlers. Um, and I think that was one of the biggest things that really helped me, especially earlier on as I started to like get into a groove and really started cutting my teeth down in the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia, that whole area was really where I think I started to make a name for myself. And if we were to like put a moment on it where I was like, okay, I think this is gonna be something. I went to a promotion. It was called Nova Pro. For anybody that remembers Nova Pro, shout out. It was awesome. Um, but I was doing like pre-show matches, and then at one point, I think I did two or three pre-shows. I'm not even a year into the business, and Gresham is there, Jonathan Gresham. He didn't have an opponent. Like he was there. I think like either his opponent no showed or something happened, and the promoter was like, "Well, he's here. You're here." And then like I just got thrown into a match with Jonathan Gresham, and we went like 15 minutes. It was incredible. So that was definitely an eye-opening moment because full transparency, I didn't know what the indies were. I didn't know there was an independent scene. Ring of Honor didn't even like hear of it for the longest
Yeah.
time. So then once I was introduced to Jonathan and really started talking to him and learning from him, even in that one night, which then ended up turning into like another match then a month later. But yeah, that was an incredible opportunity. Super thankful for it. And I think if we're really trying to dial in a time in my career, that was where I knew like, okay, I think I might have something here. I'm kind of halfway decent at this.
No, and it's crazy because it's a not only just getting thrown into a situation like that, but
Hmm.
getting thrown into a situation where you're wrestling again, arguably one of the best technical wrestlers out there going today. So
Yeah, and
it's a truly sink or swim moment, barely a year and some change into the business.
And that's
Like,
the thing too. I mean, to your point, where it was like, I think I was so fresh and new and
yeah,
ignorant to everything, where it was almost to my benefit because I didn't realize how big of a deal it was
yeah.
until like people were like, "Dude, whoa, you realize what you're doing tonight?" Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, "Whoa, what? Okay,
Which
cool."
in a perfect way, it's that perfect clean slate where it's like
Hmm.
you just go in focused on let's make it a good match, not knowing, yeah, this is especially around that point, it's like the peak of Ring of Honor and everything. That it's
Hmm.
like, yeah.
And he
But
was awesome too. A lot of
yeah,
credit to him. He was very gracious that night, and he was so incredible to work with and just talk to. So forever grateful for that.
no, that is awesome right there. Again, two moments where you just see where again things connect and it works
Hmm.
out with this amazing craft here. But the reason I asked that is because of the again being almost brought into it. That it's like, nope, the decision's being made for you. That it's like I was wondering, was that something where it's like once you're in it, that it's like, I didn't really get to make the choice here. So am I willing to commit to this? Is this something where it's like, especially where I can imagine, unfortunately, losing one of your loves, that passion in the
Hmm.
collegiate side of things, to then want to now commit to something else where it's like, as is unfortunately something like that could happen here, where it's like, could I devote myself to this and then it just be in a sense for nothing here?
Yeah, that's a really good point. And it's honestly, we've had a lot of conversations about that throughout my career. Just with in generally, like speaking with other wrestlers, with family, with friends, because especially people that aren't in the business who
Yeah.
like don't get it, so to
Yeah.
speak, they're always like, "Oh, so what league are you in?" Or, like, "What level are you at?" And I'm just like, the independence is all levels, like
Yeah. No,
it's
it truly
everything.
is. It truly is.
Um, so it's like exactly to your point where, you could do this quite literally forever, and there could never be a quote unquote finish line, which, obviously a lot of people, their finish line is being on TV, whether that be WWE, AEW, TNA, New Japan. I mean, the list goes on, but um, that's a lot of like end goals for people. But you're not guaranteed that. Just like, an NFL player, you could be grinding your tail off in, collegiate football and doing all these camps and whatnot, but then you just don't get the shot. So you play arena football league or whatever the case might be. But yeah, it is tough to explain that to people. And without having, a corporate hierarchy where, you can just get a raise and get a promotion and then you finally become the boss, that doesn't exist here. And it's so subjective to somebody seeing you, liking your look, liking your personality, your style, so on and so forth. Um, so yeah, I think every day as we kind of grind it out, it's always a friendly little reminder like, hey, here's the reality of it.
Yeah.
And it's your choice if you want to keep pushing or not.
No, definitely so. And that's where it comes with that. It comes with, you know what, making that commitment now and let's go full throttle with it. Let's find my niche in this.
For
Which brings me
sure.
to this, which is how do we find the Bro Keller that we know today? How do we get that all energy moniker? How do we start finding who you are in this craft that we love here?
Excellent question. And it's a slow development because earlier on, like when I first started out, there was kind of like this little preppy, kind of jockey, um, little spice to Bro Keller.
Yeah,
And that was even where like the name kind of originated from. We'll keep that behind the curtain, but maybe
yeah,
save that for off camera.
exactly.
But no, it just there have been moments where people have said stuff like, dude, you got like some great energy when you go to the ring. I was like, yeah, all energy, dude. And like even from that one day, I think I quite literally said that to somebody, and then it just like clicked, like, oh yeah, all energy. Like that's the move right there.
There you
Here
go.
we are. And it just from there, I was like, okay, so what does that even look like? What is all energy? Like I'm going to the gym, I'm taking my pre-workout and my protein shakes, but I'm not tired after that. I'm getting in my car and I'm driving to the next town. I'm gonna have a match and I'm going to dominate the match. Still not tired, getting back in my car, driving home, going out. A younger version of me would go out and paint the town a little bit and have fun. Um, so I think it was just like picking and pulling these little things from real life and understanding, okay, this is, I mean, you probably know this too, where so many wrestlers, the best form of them is like an extension of who they truly are.
Of course.
And
Yeah.
and I think we can always constantly evolve. I'm not saying this is maybe my final form per se, but where I'm at today, I think is me just pulling from real life and having these moments where if I'm having a conversation with somebody, just acknowledging like, oh shoot, wait, that actually kind of works. Let's use that. And so that's really, I think, how we got to the Breaux Keller you're talking to now.
Got you. No, and again, it's the best thing of being able to pick those little things that it's like, let's take this that's genuinely me. Let's take this. Let's take this. And again, just developing from what you've done and what you continue to do and what you continue to learn from. Again, it's a lot of opportunities and just seeing and getting to, again, just be a sponge to everything, you know?
For sure. And I think there's a level of authenticity that can't be overstated. Like that is what the audience, the people that are at those live shows, that is what they want to see. That's what they want to feel. They want the authenticity. And if, this isn't a knock on anybody by any means, but it's like there's a difference between like playing pro wrestler and being a pro wrestler. And I think those that maybe play pro wrestler sometimes, it's not authentic and it doesn't resonate. And that is maybe where like their obstacle comes in, or that's where their hurdle is at. So for me, I just really try as hard as I can with every match at every show or promotion I'm with. I want to be authentically me. And I think people that resonates a little bit more with them and they can feel that. And again, I think that's just more in line with like why I am who I am and how I got here.
Got you. And no, it's one of those where it's like you said, you nailed it there with the fans can feel that. It feels more than just, okay, yeah, I think I get who they are, but it's like you kind of start to question it and again, peeling a little bit of the back that it's like something feels off. But when he's truly bringing that genuineness, it's like, okay, I can get behind them. And you see it here, the 3 Legacy faithful that were chiming in that they love it and they support it here. So
I love and support them too.
But as we continue here, we got to get to that because I know that is the main reason a lot of people are here because they want to hear your thoughts going into the stacked Red Rose Rumble 2 event tomorrow live. We've been talking about it all week, but that brings us to the huge main event matchup here that got even bigger as of this week, as it will be for that 3LW championship, as it will be defending champion, the thespian himself, J.S. Hawthorne, defending against Breaux Keller. However, now we know it will be a special guest referee involved in AEW's own Bryce Remsburg here. But, bro, I have to bring up not only just the situation with J.S. Hawthorne, who unfortunately ended your reign as 3LW heavyweight champion, but it's still a very questionable way that he began his reign because he never pinned you. He never pinned you. He never made you submit. He trading in the cup for that championship opportunity. And now we go to this match, finally, an opportunity that many at 3LW were finally waiting for here to see. And it's, again, so much going on with the Red Rose Rumble 2 event. So many people that are going to be there tomorrow. Now with Remsburg adding another little caveat with Bryce, and it's been the questionable, will Bryce call it down the middle tomorrow night?
Yeah, that is
the whole situation here.
It's clearly become a family affair, as we can see with with Bryce coming in here. But let me say this, Bryce, we go back a little bit. Very familiar with him. He literally lives down the street for me.
He told me that yesterday. I was like, oh, let's go. Yeah.
And you can see here representing this little banner. It might be backwards for you, but Lancaster right there, baby. But yeah, Bryn, for whatever reason, has just not taken a liking to good old Breaux Keller. I have done nothing to rub her the wrong way, but apparently she just does not enjoy the name of some of my moves. Not just some of my moves, my finishing move, the bro job.
And just because a dope move. It is a dope move to do, and it's unfortunately it's been banned. You can't.
It's been banned. I don't. I think. I think. No, we won't go there. I'll bite my tongue on that. I'll
Oh,
bite my tongue, and we'll stick to what we're chatting with right now. Let's just get to the facts of the matter here.
yes.
Bryn Remsburg has a disliking with Papa Keller over here, and she is now bringing in her brother Bryce, who seems, by all accounts and every interaction we've had, a very swell guy. And I trust that he's going to call it right down the middle,
Yeah.
fair and square, between me and Hawthorne. That being said, I feel like I got to keep my head on a swivel because who knows what kind of cahoots Hawthorne and Bryn are having right here. Because he's not been the most fair. And by fair, I mean he doesn't follow the rules.
Yeah.
And now she's trying to change the rules, basically handcuffing me and removing one of my finishing moves. Come on now. What are we trying to accomplish? Does she just not want me as champion? I mean, I don't get it.
There's a lot going on there. Again, we've seen it with the involvement with you, the involvement with Jesus Ricardo Rodriguez. There's a lot of just against those that are truly loved here by the Three Legacy faithful. But then again, I asked Bryce because I was like, you know what, we're gonna truly be the investigative journalist here and ask and truly get to the bottom of this because, and unfortunately, it looks like Bryce has been out of the loop a little bit. He's not
Oh.
seeing what his sister has been doing here, so he is going into this again, looking to call it straight down the middle here.
So it sounds
However,
like we need to remind Bryce of the Karen that his sister has become.
I guess so. That might need to be a thing. However, again, that can rule out Bryce of doing anything that would be questionable. It still doesn't stop one Bryn Rensburg from getting her hands dirty tomorrow night.
It
In
certainly
any
does not.
so it's
No.
one of those where it's again, hopefully we can see a straight up singles match here. I know that is what everyone wants to see it truly happen, win, lose, or draw, for it to be a decisive win here. So we can see who walks out of this Red Rose Rumble event as your 3LW heavyweight champion.
And let's just call that out too. What a referee to bring in AEW official Bryce Remsburg for such an incredibly big match. This is the second year now. I mean, AEW will call it double or nothing, because this is the second round
Yep.
and we are trying to build it bigger and better than it's ever been here in Lancaster. And the fact that he was able to clear his schedule, be available, and call this match for the Three Legacies Heavyweight Championship. I mean, that says so much about the importance of this match, and it says so much about how big this match is going to be.
No, definitely so. Again, this is why, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, make sure you get your tickets. Be there, stacked event from top to bottom. We've talked about it all week. Again, so many great members of that Three Legacies roster, so many great members of the Three Legacies Academy that will be making their way to this event as well. And also look at the names that are going to be there from the boss man himself. Jesus Ricardo Rodriguez will be there. TJP, Shark Boy is going to be there tomorrow night. You have Mr. Anderson, La Resistance making their tag team debut for Three Legacies Wrestling, and the Blue Meanie. You know it's going to be crazy when the Blue Meanie is there as well. So you never know what could happen. Again, get your tickets. But back into here talking about Breaux Keller. I do want to get into that though. Again, the innovative finish here that when you can use it in other places. Unfortunately, right now, Three Legacies is it's a banned maneuver. But coming up with that, though, the innovation of doing I guess the best way to call it a springboard X Factor in a sense, it would be the best way to coming up with that, though. What is the mindset of like, you know what, let's make something that sets us apart here.
Yeah, that is something, and it has had a bit of an evolution, I will say, because it wasn't always a springboard, and I've been able to critique it and kind of manipulate it a little bit to where I've figured out the most max level of devastation that I can get out of it.
Gotcha.
And that is how it has evolved into the finishing move that it has become.
Gotcha.
Because, yeah, there were moments back in the day where I would kind of trail my opponent. I would sneak up around them and jump from behind and pull them down.
Okay.
Um, and then there was, let's see, there was a match, I think, against a larger opponent. I could be making this up, honestly, because I've had so many matches at one point. There were a couple years stretch there where it was just like,
Got you. It
um,
happens again. It's some things are just gonna tie together, unfortunately, at times.
for sure. But there was a moment where I did it the way I normally do, and then it just wasn't enough. And he got back up, and I was like, oh, I need to go higher.
Got you.
So quite literally jumped off the ropes, landed over top, pulled him down, and that was enough force to take him out for the rest of the match. 1, 2, 3, bada bing, bada boom. And then most recently at Three Legacies, actually, against one Bill Bain, if you recall him, we had a match, and X Pac was actually at the show. And that was a night where I was like, oh, I gotta do it. I gotta do it for X Pac. Like, if there's anybody that needs to see this move, it's him, because he inspired the whole thing with his
Of
X
course, yeah.
Factor. So I told him, like, before we went out there, I was like, hey, man, I know I'm just like a nobody, but I got a little something just for you tonight because you're the freaking dude. And he was like, all right, I'll keep an eye out for it. And sure enough, bang, hit Bill Bain with it. And yeah, the crowd lost their mind. And at that moment, it was the first time I really did it in such a fashion.
Yeah.
Bill kicked out. But then the next match, I started really honing it in. Finishing maneuver, bro job, boom, boom.
Yeah. There you go. See, and I think that's what Bren has studied and said, you know what? We're gonna make it so it can't be something that guarantees him a win here. We're taking that out the arsenal, unfortunately. So he has to again find other ways here. Unfortunately, when it comes to Three Legacies wrestling.
No worries though. I got some tricks up the sleeves that I'm not wearing.
There you go. We can't reveal those because again, JS Hawthorne might be watching, so we're gonna keep those in the back pocket and not discuss that here. But there are some more things I do want to discuss, which includes this right here. That again, it might be a little bit of a loaded question because it creates to again narrow down matches here. But we're going into for your career so far. What would you say has been a match that defines it for what you've been doing so far? So for the career in this span so far, a match that you would say that defines it, or matches, because I broadened it a little bit because for some people it's a little harder to just pick that one. So
No, that is something where immediately there's a couple that come to mind.
okay,
And I think so going back to my DMV days where I was
okay,
really down there a ton, um, there was a promotion, Primetime Pro Wrestling, and that actually was like the child that was birthed from Nova Pro after
okay.
Nova Pro stopped. And they had a tournament. And let me tell you, the environment, the atmosphere in this brewery where they hosted it, there were probably 600 people in there, but it sounded like 20,000. It was insane. And yeah, I had 3 matches in one day, and it was 99 degrees in that building. But credit to the fans that stayed and stuck around through it all. But also credit to Isaiah Thomas, my opponent that night. Um, he was awesome in the finals of that match. It's on YouTube. You got to find it. The atmosphere was unreal. It was, like I said, the third match of the day, and we just got after it. It was so split the whole way through. And with 3 matches, we were exhausted, but still were able to pull the most out of each other. And it was magic. It really was. I mean, I can't even necessarily put it into words, but that was a day where it really was a moment of, okay, this is, I think, that was probably the first step in my career where I really thought, all right, I think I got something here.
Gotcha.
And we tore the house down. I don't want to sound arrogant, but it was freaking awesome. And yeah, that was a big moment for me. But then moving forward in my career, I think Oh, by the way, there's a little bit of a trend here. That was the crowning of the inaugural champion of primetime pro wrestling. So I won that title. And then, of course, as you might have seen in the promo that was recently released, inaugural Three Legacies wrestling champion right here as well. So I don't know, new promotions, new championships. I'm your guy.
There you go. It just again it clicks. You bring that all energy to your promotion.
I try, but to really, if like there was a culminating moment in my career of like, oh yeah, this match was it.
Yeah.
Easily, far and away, even though I got my butt demolished against Veer on Monday Night Raw in an arena with 19,000 people, and there's nothing I will never be able to explain that or put it into words. I mean,
Yeah.
I called my wife immediately after the match, bawled my eyes out because it's one of those things where it's, you know, people can reach their, again, their goal, the culmination of what they've been working towards. You can be in the big time for, you know, a cup of coffee, which is my case, or, you know, a couple decades.
Yeah.
But the fact that I was able to wrestle in that ring on a national stage in that sold out arena, that will forever be ingrained in my mind and will be something very near and dear to my heart. And I will have that YouTube clip saved forever and a half.
No, that is awesome right there. And again, it's moments like that that truly, again, it takes those opportunities. You learn from it because again, you've gotten to do that on both stages. Getting to do
Mhm.
that for again two of the biggest companies doing it on Raw against Veer right there. Getting to be a part of Elite Wrestling on their stage. It's one of those where you get moments like that, and truly, again, it takes that, learn from it, and keep striving and keep pushing here on everything that you do. So,
Exactly.
so that is the biggest thing. And again, taking those opportunities and what you learned there to again walk into this huge matchup right here tomorrow night. But that also it brings me to ask this: how did that relationship start for you to get to Three Legacies Wrestling to be able to become the inaugural champion there? How did that start with you and the and Three Legacies?
Yeah, that actually is the product of Larry keeping the peace.
There you go. Shout out to Larry,
Yeah,
who we also had this week on the podcast. There you
there
go.
you go. Senior 3LW official, Larry Peace. He has been, and I don't give him enough credit on a public stage, I don't think, but he has been super helpful in terms of just making connections and helping me, you know, just working with different promotions, meeting other people. And I think he had dropped a couple hints to Ricardo Rodriguez, and he maybe dropped my name out there a couple times. And through that, he had reached out to me simultaneously and was like, "Hey, there's this promotion coming up, Three Legacies. You got to check it out. Reach out to Ricardo." And I forget who messaged who first, but between the two of us, Ricardo and myself, Larry kind of connected the dots. And yeah, we had a very brief conversation, and it was more just like, yes, I'm in. Lancaster has been hungry for professional wrestling, and it's such a hotbed for it. What can I do to help? Um, so from that point forward, it was just like, all right, here are some dates. That would be great. And so it was quite literally, we had a quick chat, put some things together, and boom, we were just off and running at that point. Um, and even like prior to my wife and I having our child, it was nice because he was again graciously inviting me in to the 3LW family. And I think we're all a pretty good, that's the word, family and team. Like I was just helping with some of the newer students. I was coming in every Thursday and helping them kind of learn some of the basics, do some more mechanical stuff, and just really learning a lot of, you know, what professional wrestling is, at least through my experiences,
Gotcha.
and what I had been taught and what information, I can't speak right now, I had collected over
Gotcha.
my years. So yeah, it's been quite a journey, quite a ride, and that's where I jokingly said it the one time, like, "Hey, I'm Mr. 3LW right here. You know, never been pinned, never been submitted. You know, inaugural champion. And I'm just here, honestly. I said it jokingly because I think we're all Mr., Miss, Mrs. 3LW. Like, it is such a fantastic group that is just continuously growing and so hungry to learn. And yeah, it's a beautiful thing to watch.
No, it definitely is. And that's been the best thing about this week of seeing just that hunger there. Every person I've spoken to this week, just having that hunger, wanting to put on the best show. And that is just the huge event that is happening tomorrow. And look at that. We got my good brother Smiley in the chat. Good evening. What's going on, Smiley? What's going on? What's
Ooh,
going on?
Smiley.
There we go. He also will be, we spoke to one of his opponents tomorrow, Al Snook, a little earlier. Again, a very misunderstood fellow. He's not a, yeah, Al Snook, not too liked at 3LW I've seen. And yeah,
Mm-mm.
very interesting episode. But again, that is not here or there. But we talked about, again, matches you've had, matches that are coming up. That does bring me to this question here of who are some people you love to share that ring with, be it at 3LW or just in general as well?
That I would like to, or that I have.
That you would like to, opponents that you would like to have that you haven't had possibly that chance to yet, or just a match that you would even want to run back, you know?
Yeah, oh, for sure. There's a few that I would like to run back, and I've gotten some awesome opportunities in the past. By the way, shout out to Smiley. He connected the dots here for us to hop on together too. Smiley doesn't get enough credit either. Such an awesome wrestler. And I don't know if he remembers, there was a promotion called Kaiju years
Yep.
ago, and we wrestled each other at Kaiju in Brooklyn, New York. It was so much fun. Shout out Smiley. So put him on the list. But um, no, there's some wrestlers now that have been on that big stage that have unfortunately been let go. I don't know to put it politely. I hate saying that, but
Yeah.
you look at somebody like Mustafa Ali. That would be so much fun to do. You look at somebody like Nick Nemeth, who's now TNA World Heavyweight Champion, I believe. Um, Wrestled former TNA Heavyweight Champion Moose. That was such an incredible opportunity. But just kind of keeping that trend going, with like Matt Cardona, even. I mean, there's so many incredible wrestlers out there now. And that just goes back to like the beginning of this conversation of, there's so many levels to this, and there's so many different directions you can go.
Definitely.
And I think somebody who also was pretty instrumental in me getting started was Adam Cole. And, just having a relationship with him and communicating with him in terms of like, hey, this is what it would take, this is what you got to do. That would be probably like number one on the list of matches to have. But we'll see. I gotta get up to that level, apparently, because
You never know, because from what I heard from his Discord they just put out recently, he is moving back to Pennsylvania. So he is going to be in the area. Who knows? You know
gonna be
what?
in here.
That is one of those things we like to do here. So we're gonna put out the fantasy graphic here, and we're gonna put it out into the universe. So
Let's do
stay
it.
tuned for the
Let's
clip,
put it
folks.
out
And
there.
Adam Cole, we're calling you out, brother.
Indeed,
But
we are.
but as we start wrapping this up, man, because I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Because again, huge title match tomorrow and a long day ahead. Final question I do want to ask you, and that is for you. You mentioned a lot other people's end goals, but I want to get to yours, and that is for Breaux Keller. What is the end goal, brother?
Oh man. Uh Golly. This is another one where it's like I don't want to sound corny, but I've kind of found a different perspective in life as of late. And it's like there's, you see all the banners and the memes and the whatevers where it's like, just enjoy the journey. It's not about the destination. But there's so much to be said in that where it's like we could never get to these goals or like these end destinations. And it's more about, okay, what are you doing to even try to get there? What
Yeah.
positions are you putting yourself in? What situations are you finding yourself in? What efforts are you putting forth? What what time are you making? What sacrifices are you creating? There's so much that goes into it. So I think for me, I mean, in wrestling, of course, I want to get to that quote unquote next level. I want to be on television. I want to be in more of those 19,000 seat arenas. I want to, have those different opportunities and wrestle some of these other, larger name, bigger than life, wrestlers that are out there. But I mean, in just the grand scheme of life, I kind of alluded to it earlier, but my wife and I, we had our first child. I want to be a good father to him. I want to be a present father with him. I want to be in his life and watch him grow. And this career certainly adds a little bit of a challenge in doing that. But that is a big priority for me because I've seen in so many different occasions where that isn't always the case. And people, don't have present parents, and that's tough. So I want to make sure I'm doing everything in my power to avoid that because I want to love my son in front of my son, hold my son.
Oh, I got you.
But
And again, that is the perfect way to put it, especially in this having that moment of like, this is the passion, this is something I have that love for, but also having the priority of wanting that family to have that love and support there as well. So that is awesome.
exactly. And that's what it comes down to, really. At the end of the day, with everybody, and again, full circle moment of respecting the craft. Um, I think just respecting each other, everybody that you come across. We all have our own stories. We're all living our own lives, and we're all doing the best we can. So
Come on.
it's like just loving and respecting each person you come across. I mean, it's easy to sit here and do. Obviously, you can have a bad day,
I,
but no, I mean, it's always the better option to keep that glass half full.
Definitely. No, that is a great way to look at it and a great way to continue uh to succeed through life and to continue to push through life. Again, there's gonna be those good moments, there are bad moments, but I always look at it like again, those bad ones help you truly enjoy when the good ones come.
Exactly. Oh, that is such a good way to put it.
So there we go. But again, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, make sure you are following Three Legacies Wrestling on all their social media there. The Instagram account right there, the X account right there. Links will also be in the description down below to also get your tickets if you haven't already. But also make sure you are following Bro on his Instagram right there, Breaux Keller, and follow him on X right there at Breaux Keller. And again, bro, we thank you so much. And again, very much good luck tomorrow night in that championship match. And to everyone watching, this has been Three Legacies Week. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys on the next one. As always, don't forget to be wise, be genuine, be real, be better people, respect the craft. We'll see you guys on the next one.